Okay, guys, we're continuing on, and we're going to do something new. I don't think you guys have learned this in Algebra 1. It is, if you take a look, we're going to be graphing absolute value inequalities. I did teach you the absolute value equations, which we drew V's opening up or opening down. The only difference from this is we're just going to have shading and maybe a dashed line instead of a solid line. So let's recall the absolute value form for an equation. Remember, the A is kind of like the slope. Remember, if the A is negative, it opens down. It's called a reflection. And remember that your vertex is HK. So your vertex, HK. And remember, H is opposite because of the minus sign in the formula. Okay, example 2, graph each inequality. So as you can see here, this guy is ready to be graphed already. You'll notice here, take a look in B, just want to draw that attention. I said A is ready. What I mean is, like, when you hit a problem like B, notice I circled the 3. It's not in vertex form yet. So we need to keep an eye out for making sure Y is by itself on the left. All right, so what is the vertex here? The vertex is -3, -5. Again, HK. H is opposite. And the A is an invisible 1. So we graph -3, -5. And then we're going to go up 1 over 1 a few times. Up 1, left 1. And now we have to decide, are we going to have a solid line or dotted line? If you take a look, we have a greater than or equal to. So the underline means we're going to have a solid line. And the shading, it is greater than, so that would be shading above the graph. Okay, A is done. Let's take a look at B. B does not have Y by itself. It says 3 plus Y. So the first thing we want to do, we want to subtract that 3. So bring it over. That's going to be a K is a -3. So the vertex here, what is it? HK, -2, -3. H is opposite. And also the A is an invisible 1. So the vertex, -2, -3. Then we're going to go up 1 over 1 in both directions. Get my V going. Now my sign here is greater than, so there's no underline there. So that means I am going to have a dashed line. And greater than, so it's also going to shade above. Okay, that was it for B. Now let's move on to C. This is another one. It's not ready to graph quite yet. Y is not by itself. I need to add 4. So now it's in my vertex form, as you can see here. My vertex is 1, 4. My A is -2. So that means I'm going to have a reflection. It's going to open downward. So 1, 4. And be careful where, since the A is a -2, we're going to go down 2 over 1. Down 2 for every over 1. Both directions from the vertex. Down 2 right 1, down 2 left 1. All right, so there's our V. We have a less than. So we are going to have a dotted line, dashed line. And it's a less than, so it's going to be shading below. Oop, did not mean to do that. Erase the whole thing. Okay, that was letter C. What I want you to do is take a couple minutes, hit up the next problem, the you do, and try your best, and then unpause it when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, this guy is ready to graph. The vertex is 1, -5. And the slope A is up 1 for every over 3. Up 1, left 3. And then the sign is less than, so that's going to be a dashed line. That did not come out great, but oh well. And then the shading, again, it's less than, so that's going to be shade below. And done. So as you guys work through these on your own, yeah, I'm a little long-winded because I'm talking through the whole thing, but honestly, these, as long as you put in the work, these problems should only be about 20 seconds maybe, once you have it mastered. Maybe not even that long. Okay, moving on to the next page, example 3. It's kind of the backwards of what we were doing. We need to write the equation from the graph. Now, I should say, sorry, it says write the equation. It actually shouldn't say write the equation. It should say write the inequality. We have shading here. And any problems that have shading need a less than or greater than. It's an inequality, not an equation. All right, so in A, B, and, well, A and B and C, they're linear inequalities, so we got to think, don't think about the absolute value right now. Go back to the thinking in the beginning. Think y equals mx plus b when it's a straight line. So what would the inequality be here in A? We have a dashed line shaded below. What would that be? Less than. It's a negative slope, so what's my slope m? I can zoom in here and put 2 points if I need to. Say a point here and here, and then count. It's going down 1 over 2. So that would give me a slope of -1/2. Make sure to attach your x with your slope always. And then what's your y-intercept be? That would be this guy right here. So that would be crossing the, if you look closely at the numbers there, that would be between 2 and 6, so that would be a 4. Okay, letter B, let's try another one. Y is, this one's a solid line shaded above, so that should be greater than or equal to. We do have another negative slope here. Let's get some 2 points down, say here and way down here. Remember where it meets the corners or the crosshairs. So that would be, that's going down 5 over 4. Attach the x to the slope, and then your y-intercept, what would that be? That would be this guy here. It crosses at 3, so plus 3. Now letter C, remember that's a special case. We cannot put this in y equals mx plus b form. Normally this guy, when it's a vertical line, is x equals a number. So we're going to put x, but we can't put an equal, so what would this be? Now it's a dashed line. It's not shaded above or below, so it's a little tricky here. On a vertical line, you can think back to your number line shading. So that would be to the left, and that would be less than. This is the only time that you can do left and right with the shading is when you have a vertical line. And then the number would be right here where it crosses the y-axis, sorry, x-axis, -1. And then D, E, and F, we want to resort back to the new one we've been learning about, the absolute value form. But obviously we're not going to do an equal sign. We're going to be doing an inequality. So letter D, we're going to have y is greater than or equal to, it's a solid line shaded above. The A is the slope, so we pick a point, say, here and here. That's up 1 over 2, so that goes in for the A. Then the absolute value. Now, for the H and the K, you may want to write down what the vertex is. It is this point will be your HK. So that is 1 and -3. That's your HK. So x minus 1, close the absolute value, then -3. Okay, next problem. Y is less than, it's a dashed line shaded below. The A, it's opening downward, so there's a reflection, so I'm going to put a negative for A. And we got to carefully pick 2 points here, and then count for the slope A, here and here. That would be down 2 over 1. So if it's down 2 over 1, we call it -2. You wouldn't put -2 over 1. Then we go to the absolute value. Now let's name what the vertex is. That's the point 0, 4. So that'll go in. I don't need to put the 0 in for the H. Just leave it absolute value. And then the 4 is K, so plus 4. And then finally, the last one. So we have Y is, that one's going to be greater than. It's a dashed line shade above. Refer to the notes if you're forgetting it. I have them memorized. You guys need to as well. All right, so the A, that's actually just up 1 over 1. So we don't need to put a 1 for the A. Just leave that blank there. So go to the absolute value. And then what's your vertex? This point right here, that's 1, 0. So H minus 1, X minus 1 for X minus H. And then the 0, you don't need to put it there for K. And then that's it. All right, that's the end of the lesson. This lesson was in 2 parts, so make sure you're watching both of them.